This is a story about borders, about the lines drawn between countries, communities, and continents. This is Jim Bertholf. He's waiting for 5 black South Africans who have flown directly to Los Angeles from Johannesburg. The borders they'll cross will be more than lines on a map, but rather the lines between race, class, and color. Back in South Africa, they're second-class citizens, disenfranchised, whose lives and actions are controlled by a white minority government through a complex web of race laws known to the world as Apartheid. For them, this is a step across the border to freedom.
Be out where you can breathe and eat where you want.
Yeah, just feel free, happy.
It's good, beautiful, yeah.
This is the place they've left, the African townships that sprawl outside Johannesburg. It was here that the riots erupted last year that have left white South Africa shaken and focused the world's attention. Blacks see this as a prison, the lines drawn as clearly as they were in the pre-Civil War years of the American South. These men are actors. Jim Bertholf is a professor in the theatre department at Orange Coast College who saw a play they created and performed in Johannesburg. It's a prison play, a metaphor for black life in South Africa, and one he felt should be shared with his students and American audiences. For Americans, it's hard to understand what arriving in Los Angeles means to these men. It's not the fact of a huge modern city with its lights and life, because Johannesburg has all that, but what something like this restaurant represents.
Are we allowed to go in there?
The astonishment that blacks and whites can eat in the same restaurant tells us a great deal about the causes of the recent disturbances in South Africa. Disturbances that saw the white government react strongly, blaming the uprising on outside agitators.
Every time I'm against the policies of the national government, they feel, no, it's not you. You can't be thinking in that line. You must have been influenced, communist.
Yeah, they don't understand how we could have lived in South Africa for the past 20 years, let me say, like I'm 22, you know, lived 22 years in South Africa. Suddenly I'm changing, I want to know what's happening about me and all that. They think, oh, somebody's been influencing me, you know. And, well, it's only that, you know, we're the youth of South Africa today has sort of got to realize the, you know, his sort of existence in South Africa. And we're sort of diverting from our grand past tracks, you know, getting into something new. We want to know, who am I? Why am I not eating in that restaurant? Why am I not allowed to go and learn from that school, you know, from that university? It's all that. And they don't just understand where we get all those questions, you know? And it's mostly from students, black students, you know.
The thing is, they don't expect us to use our brains, you know. You can only be influenced. You cannot use your own discretion, you know.
Of course, they're here to rehearse and perform their play called Survival, initially trying it out on college audiences in California, tuning it to the American ear, and giving seminars on South Africa. But meanwhile, there's time for places like the Westminster Mall.
This is what?
America. All good Los Angeles, man. Not South Africa.
But I don't still believe it, man. I still don't believe it.
Yeah, it takes time to adjust, you know.
Yeah, it really takes time.
It takes time.
Places like the restaurants.
The restaurants. Every time you get into restaurants, you see, I'm getting to a restaurant. I mean, it's the first time in my whole life, you know. I mean, you sit with people, you talk in terms of human beings, not the color. So, I'd say it takes time to adjust to that kind of life.
What's your name?
That the adjustment should revolve around the simple social acts that we take for granted tells us something about freedom here, but more about a land where young men meeting young women across the color line is illegal and punishable by law.
It's big.
A society where, if you're black, The struggle is survival.
Waiter, give me fish and chips, a cup of tea and some rolls and make it snappy. What's the Prime Minister saying now? We are moving away from discrimination at our own pace.
Excuse me, are you from overseas?
No, I'm from Soweto.
Soweto, you can't eat here, man.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? This place is for whites only.
For whites only? What about those black people?
These people are from Uganda.
Oh, I'm from South Africa.
Waiter,
Sir.
wine illicit, please.
Yes, just a minute, sir. Wait, man.
Hi, man, look, I've got money to pay.
You are not wanted here, man. Get out!
You mean I must get out?
Get out!
Waiter!
Sir.
Wine illicit,
Yes,
please.
just a minute, sir.
Oh, this place is still the same.
Who said it wasn't?
Freedom. And if there's no freedom, Leroy Williams, troublemaker.
Edward Nkosi, murderer.
Slater, agitator,
Fosi, murder,
Prisoners.
criminals. We refuse to accept responsibility for our crime. We refuse to go on being prisoners. We have decided to resist, to make a grab for tomorrow. The light at the end of the tunnel.
Washaya pula sapula matambo. Washaya pula sapula sangoma. Washaya pula sapula kosia matimoni nakamatambo. La sangoma. Washaya pula sapula matambo. Washaya pula sapula sangoma. Washaya pula sapula kosia matimoni nakamatambo. 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 Kukula Nkosi ya machela se Afrika. Yiso lesi sizwe simnyama sikalayo. Na sisanguma mama sizobhula ngamathambo aso. Sisango, sizobhula ngamathambo.